Our boy's laid out on the floor like life just rage quit on him, mumbling about how violence has been riding shotgun with him since birth like some toxic clingy ex. His old man standing there clenching his fist like he's about to speed run Father of the Year in reverse, and the MC's childhood basically looked like a boxing tutorial with no skip button. Now the MC's face is all busted up, but instead of crying, he's just sitting there like violence is his morning coffee. He's so used to it, it's practically part of his respiratory system like inhale, exhale, uppercut. Just then we cut to our bro, screaming like he just saw the Wi-Fi go out during a ranked match. He's got a target on his face, and the kind of panic that makes you sweat from places you didn't know could sweat. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, this dude's being held down while someone pulls back a slingshot with a coin locked and loaded like it's Prison Olympics. He's yelling, "Hold on." But the only thing holding on is his last shred of dignity. The MC is trembling like a chihuahua in a thunderstorm, begging them to just punch him already because apparently getting coin sniped in the face is a bit much. Then enters this menace, smirking like he just farted in an elevator and blames someone else. He's pointing fingers and talking about how the MC was desperate for money like he's Wall Street's pervy cousin. The goon hits the MC with, "You've done all kinds of things for money," and he freezes like he just remembered that one job he swore he'd never speak of again. Cut to the MC hugging shoes like they're his emotional support animals. He's shivering and the bully explained about him warming shoes for 101, which is either the saddest hustle or the weirdest foot fetish side quest. And now he's barking like a puppy for 201, while Blondie squeezes his forehead like he's checking if the dog is ripe yet. The Blondie, holding a weapon and exuding confidence, challenged that if the MC became his human target, they would receive a hefty reward of 501. The protagonist, appearing resolute, declared that he would do it, signaling his firm decision to accept the challenge. The Slingshot Squad is screaming instructions like they're running a tutorial on how to commit a felony with pocket change. The rubber band snaps mid-tension, and everyone's brain collectively blue screens like the universe just said, "Nah, not today." And what do you know, of all places the coin could have landed, it just decided to go into the toilet. The coin hits the water like a sack of wet regrets, and honestly the sound alone smells like disappointment. Blondie's losing his mind screaming for another rubber band, while his goons admit they can't find any, proving prison has supply shortages in the dumbest places. Someone tells the MC it's his lucky day, which is hilarious because nothing about this man's life has ever even flirted with luck. The man instructs his little puppy to go and get his coin, as the MC happily thanks the man. Blondie smirks and goes, "That's way too easy," which is villain speak for "I'm about to ruin this man's entire afternoon." Blondie tells the MC to pick the coin up with his mouth like he's training a prison golden retriever, and the MC's soul leaves his body on the spot. Just then, muttering that this is disgusting, while the background characters casually mention someone took a massive dump there last night. Dunk, the MC actually shoves his whole head into the toilet like he's bobbing for apples in Satan's punch bowl. The crowd loses their minds screaming that it smells fucking gross, running away like he just unleashed biological warfare. Just then someone laughs saying, "Imagining dunking your head in literal shit water for 501, which is like 40 cents, peak financial desperation speed run." The MC flexes his savings, bragging he's got 50,001 now, which is basically $50 and a lifetime of trauma. We then see someone telling the Blondie it's yard time, and he reacts like he's being invited to a spa day instead of a prison courtyard full of sweaty regrets. The Blondie tell our boy to take his time because he smells like a sewer explosion, laughing like they didn't just witness a man commit hygiene homicide. The men says it only took the MC a month to hit rock bottom, which is wild because he didn't just hit it, he dug a basement under it. They say he literally sold his dignity for money, which is accurate because at this point his dignity is on eBay with free shipping. Still standing in the doorway, dripping shit water from his face. The inmates remind us he's locked up for attempted murder, which is funny because right now he looks like he couldn't even murder a houseplant. The Blondie says they've seen murderers grovel for money, which is basically prison slang for everyone here is broke and desperate. The MC isn't special, as another wonders why he's so money obsessed. We cut back to our boy as a guard knocks and tells prisoner 7199 he has a visitor, and the MC looks shocked like someone just told him he has fans. He whispers a visitor, like he's in a romance anime instead of a building full of dudes who smell like sweat and regret. He admits he's saving all this money for one reason, which is adorable because we all know that reason is about to emotionally uppercut him. Just then we are introduced to a beautiful woman who couldn't possibly be our bro's girlfriend. She then asks if he's lost weight. The girl, appearing concerned and passionate, asked if the MC was not being fed well or getting beaten up in the place. It is then clarified that the girl was his childhood friend. She tells him to stab people in the eyes with chopsticks and he's like, that's a little while realizing she might actually be more dangerous than the inmates. She's his only visitor, which is sweet until you remember he's in here for attempted murder and she's giving him murder tips like it's. He questioned why she was visiting so often lately, noting that bus fares weren't cheap these days. But just then she asks where he got the money he sent her, and he freezes like she just found his secret stash of humiliation coins. The girl states that she may be an orphan, but she refuses to take his suspicious money, and he panics like she just rejected his entire personality. Just then she questions our bro, asking if this was about the promise they made to move to sea together after high school. She tells him to look out for himself and she'll handle the money, which is hilarious because he's been handling money like a raccoon handles trash. Standing up preparing to leave, she urges our guy to just focus on his release. The scene then shifts to the MC apologizing, blaming everything on his father, then corrects himself to that monster, which is honestly the most accurate rebranding of the year. We then see the girl sitting there silently, clothes battered and bruises marking her entire body. But just then she slams the wall asking if he's seriously worried about her, and the MC flinches like she just threw a spiritual punch at his soul. She tells him to worry about himself, calling him an idiot with the kind of affection that could heal trauma or cause more of it. We then cut to a judge sentencing the protagonist to 3 years in prison, and the MC looks like someone just unplugged his entire operating system. He realizes he's actually being locked up and starts trembling in fear. Cutting to him being taken away, she warns our boy not to skip meals, and that he must tell her as he's ever getting picked on. He observed the tense interaction as the MC warned that any trouble would result in an extended sentence, emphasizing that good behavior could lead to an expedited release. He mutters, "It's just 3 years, I can do it," like someone trying to convince themselves jail is a long weekend getaway. Our boy sits there, wishing he could be getting warmed up beside this cutie, but no, life's been shit, now it's just straight men there. Just then, this bastard spawns out of nowhere, with a sarcastic tone stating how cute the two looked in the picture. Meanwhile, the playful teasing continued as the guy mockingly asked if the protagonist's girl was his girlfriend, noting that he sounded like someone with a crush, which only made him more flustered as he hurriedly any feelings. Extending his hand out, the man demanded for the MC to hand it over. Fearing for himself, the MC recoiled and shouted that the photo he had was special, desperately pushing back against the person's reaching hand. Blondie leans in with that "did you just say no to me" energy like a toddler who just discovered violence. He wonders if he's been too nice lately, which is hilarious because his version of nice is psychological warfare with extra seasoning. Just as the bastard was about to attack our boy, the guard announces a new inmate like it's a DLC drop nobody asked for. The bastard freezes when he hears newbie, because in prison that word usually means fresh meat or future problem. As the door creaks open like a horror movie intro, we see a menacing figure entering. He was advised to keep his head down and that the guard would be watching him, emphasizing the tense and cautious atmosphere of the encounter. Someone whispers, "I know that guy," and the whole room suddenly gets quiet like they just spotted a DLC boss in the tutorial zone. The man explained that the newcomer had killed 7 bullies from his own school, prompting his concerned friend to ask in disbelief whether that was really true. The inmates freak out hearing he killed 7 bullies. His sentence pops up like a character intro card, and they realize they're sharing a room with someone who speed ran the juvenile justice system. The room goes complete silent, the only sound being the heavy metal door shutting behind them. Just then, someone tries to act tough, saying there's nothing to be scared of. And of course it's this guy. He smirked confidently, dismissing the serious concern by asserting that anyone could take on the newcomer, regardless of his past crimes. He faced the man with a smirk as he teased that if looks could kill, and he certainly looked the part. The bastard tells him they'll get along fine as long as he keeps his ego in check, which is bold talk for someone who wouldn't last 5 seconds in a staring contest with him. As the blondie reached out his hand, looking for an agreement between the two, the guy aura checked him, suggesting that his aura was too low even for a handshake with him. Blondie the bastard mutters he was trying to be nice, which is hilarious because his version of nice is emotional waterboarding. Then he snaps and screams, "Come here, asshole," like a toddler who just discovered violence is a hobby. Blondie swings and the newcomer dodges so casually it looks like he's avoiding a mosquito, not a grown man with anger issues. This prompted the blondie to respond in shock, suggesting how dare this guy not just stand there and get hit by me. Just then we see the short-hair man winding up his ultimate move. The MC whispers, "Wow," like he's watching a nature documentary about predators in the wild. The MC stares at the newcomer like he's trying to figure out if this guy is human or a government experiment. The protagonist looked shocked as the fist approached, as he then remarked that the guy had killed 7 people after all. But boom, the bastard delivered a powerful punch, unleashing his fierce determination, and the newcomer gets folded like a cheap lawn chair. The guy, injured, tilted his head back as blood splatters from his face, embodying a moment of brutal suffering amidst the ominous scene. The leaves our boy shocked because who thought the newcomer acting like that would be the one on the ground. The man, furious and determined, delivered powerful kicks to his opponent on the ground, shouting that he was the top dog and questioning if he thought he could take him on. Exuding authority and defiance, he declared that everyone must obey him regardless of their past actions, asserting his dominance in a hostile display of control. The blondie smacked the man's head and ordered him to go fetch him some water. Despite the tense atmosphere and the intense, contemplative gaze of the blondie leaning in closely, he refused to comply with the demands of the top dog, even after he got beat up that day. The MC sat on the floor, appearing contemplative and slightly frustrated as he wondered why the newcomer was being so stubborn, despite expecting that he would have learned his place by now. As night falls, we see the inmates skin to skin all bundled up next to each other. The MC called out that the newcomer was either dumb or needed to learn to flatter someone, implying that his life would be easier if he simply suckered up to the blondie a little. The protagonist acknowledged that although it was difficult, the top dog held the most power in the room, which was why everyone remained silent and followed his commands. The smirking protagonist, with a sarcastic tone, advised the man to read the room and not be so stubborn, especially since he lacked the strength to fight back. Just then, he challenged the MC sternly, demanding whether our bro had always been such a coward, his voice filled with intense confrontation. This left our guy speechless, as he thought to himself that he was just trying to help by telling the man to become a loser like him. Lying down, our guy here states that you can call him whatever you want, but he was going to continue living like a loser. Our girl's out here freezing like she spawned into a winter with no cloak, clutching that lunchbox like it's her last stat buff. She's thinking about our boy looking skinny last time, like the detention center put him on the air and disappointment diet. She squeezes the lunchbox, hyping herself up like she's delivering a 5-star meal when it's probably rice and hope. She knows he won't say it, but she can feel he's been going through it, that silent suffering main character. She's worried he's not eating well, which is fair because prison food looks like it was cooked by someone who hates joy. She comments that the lunchbox isn't anything fancy, but she's smiling like she just packed emotional DLC. As she crosses the street, guys, we all know where this is going. And boom, like we expected, but it's not a truck but a bus, which is even worse. The pauses in fear, maybe hoping she'll be transmigrated to some fantasy world with swords and magic. Cut to the prison center, cold gray, depressing, the usual abandoned all hope interior design. Our guy is here resting peacefully, unaware of what's happening to his crush. We see the women sprawled out on the cold road, the packed lunch for the MC scattered everywhere. Just then, the guard hits our boy with the "I'm very sorry," and his soul pauses like a buffering video. He asks sorry about what? Already knowing he doesn't want the answer, then he drops it. Someone got hit by a truck yesterday near the detention center. And the way the guard says it just so happens that, feels like the universe is about to punch him in the throat. The protagonist, visibly frightened and reacting with shock in the dark and ominous setting. Cut to the MC's room, chaos, noise, and the inmates screaming like they're auditioning for worst human alive. Just then, the blondie bastard slams the door open, yelling at the MC for not cleaning the bathroom. Like hygiene is the biggest crime happening. He stomps toward him full of rage, like our guy personally ruined his credit score, asking if he was looking for a beating. Then he sees our bro staring at a photo and goes, "Why you staring at your crush? Bro, let him cope in peace." Another inmate drops the bomb, the girl who got hit by the truck. Yeah, it was her. He, with a smug expression, questioned whether she was coming to see him, asserting that if so, she was definitely his girlfriend and demanding to know why he had lied to him. He snatches the photo because of course he does, man's hobby is being punchable, taunting our boy on how he was now single. He starts roasting our boy, calling her cute and way out of his league, like he's not built like a discount mop. Then he tries to auction the photo off like it's a rare NFT nobody asked for. Our guy just sits there as the inmates start bidding like degenerates at a pawn shop. One dude even asks if he can go on a date with her too, proving prison IQ is a myth. Then Blondie says the line that flips the whole room: "If she was alive, I'd do more than date her." Instant silence, even the walls go, "Bro, what?" The inmates, remaining defiant amid the tense confrontation, sharply accused the Blondie of being a psycho, questioning if adding such remarks was his kink as he mockingly called her a cutie. He smirked with the photo in hand, contemplating that it now held so much value and secretly deciding he might keep it for himself. He walks forward and the top dog tries to play it off like he's not about to get spiritually rearranged, with this devastating blow to the head. This left every prisoner shocked. I mean, they didn't expect our bro here to actually start a fight. We then get a random flashback, tell the newcomer that before he continued his speech, he couldn't tell anyone. Then the MC drops the bomb: "My father, he's the right-hand man of a big gangster." The protagonist, with a sorrowful expression, reflected on his painful past, recalling that he had been beaten by his father since he was a little kid. He reflected on his limited options, feeling frustrated as he explained that he had no choice but to lay low because his father was still alive. But just then, he admitted that he snapped once. And that one time was when his dad hurt his friend. The Blondie, still conscious somehow, called our bro a piece of shit. And with that, he ordered the rest of the inmates to attack our guy. And we cut to another flashback. The MC reflected on the pain from his father's abuse, realizing that despite everything, he had gained something from those harsh years. The thing this, he learned how to fight the hard way through survival, not training arcs. We see the dead, silent prison room, with blood staining everything in its path. The Blondie, visibly shaken and overwhelmed by guilt, expressed his remorse with a fearful apology, surrounded by the fallen in the dimly lit room. The top dog starts begging, offering money like he's trying to bribe karma, saying our guy can have however much as he wants. He comments that sure money would been tempting, but you see, our guy lost the only thing keeping him rational. The MC doesn't even blink. Money means nothing now. He starts swinging clean, efficient, no wasted motion like violence is a language he's fluent in. The protagonist, feeling resolute and fierce, declared that he now had no reason to stay, as he obliterated this guy's face in. He remembers his father telling him to follow in his footsteps and join the gang. He reflected on the relentless abuse he endured daily, feeling overwhelmed by the shadowy silhouette of his haunted past. Our bro as a kid, too scared to even look him in the eyes, that's the kind of fear that stains your bones. Just then, his father lamented that the protagonist must become stronger. His father said he'd earn a tattoo once he became strong enough. Yeah, strong enough to break. Our guy acknowledged that he had nowhere else to direct his anger. Except at those damn eyes of that dragon. The scene intensifies, furious and demanding answers, a uniformed officer shouting in agitation. The guard is shocked to see no one but our boy standing over the bodies of every single cellmate. The guard questions the MC, asking if he was the one who did this. Without hesitation, our protagonist calmly affirms that he was the one to do this. Sitting alone on the floor in a dimly lit room, the protagonist held a piece of paper with a solemn expression, contemplating his situation in a moment filled with melancholy. As the MC sat there reminiscing about his one-sided, we shift back to the time of the photo. The girl was visibly stunned as she questioned whether his dad had beaten him right before the first day of school. The protagonist, attempting to comfort the girl with a reassuring smile while feeling conflicted himself, told her that it was okay because he was used to it, even though she responded with intense concern that it was not okay. The girl passionately declared her intention to confront the MC's father. He, with a serious and assertive expression while holding the girl's shoulder, told her that she promised she would never come to his house. He, standing firm with a defiant expression, warned the girl that he would forever call her a loser if she broke his promise, emphasizing the tense confrontation. Feeling nervous yet hopeful, she reached out and expressed that if she had a place to call her home, she would welcome him anytime, but then he quickly backtracked, denying that he meant it that way. She comments that she wants to move to C. She says that's where she's gonna live after finishing high school. She expressed her frustration, stating that she was sick and tired of living in the orphanage in this tiny neighborhood. Feeling hopeful and determined, she articulated her ambitious plans to attend a top university in Seoul, secure a luxurious job, buy herself a nice car and designer bags, and live in an apartment with a river view. He was surprised and inquisitive as he questioned the girl's materialism, noting that she had always been this way, which led to a playful and lighthearted argument between them. Feeling vulnerable and concerned about the possibility of being left alone if she decides to move away, he reflected on how he had not known her true wishes, emphasizing his sense of loneliness. Just then, our girls drops the "you're coming with me, right?" Boy, was he happy to hear that. Just then, the two Pinky promised to move together. He was surprised yet amused as the girl declared that if he broke their promise, he would forever be called a loser, expressing disbelief at the playful yet serious vow. A person approached the two individuals with an enthusiastic greeting, assuming they were a couple and offering to take their picture. We then see how our guy got the picture and the lore behind it. Just then, our bro punched the wall, mad he couldn't clap them cheeks no more because she was no gone. He reflected quietly, realizing that she wouldn't have been in that intersection if she wasn't coming to visit him. Our guy starts bawling his eyes out, knowing that since the only play he could get was now dead, he was forever going to be a virgin. Just then the officer calls out to our boy, hoping to get his attention. He tells the MC that he was sorry for our guy's loss. The guard, gazing through the prison bars with visible distress, expressed that he believed our guy had already done enough. The scene focuses on the MC, who, despite being urged to calm down and eat, continues to ignore his neglected plate of food, revealing his upset and withdrawn state. The officer states that what happened to the girl was a tragedy, but he hit our guy with the "suck it up buttercup, life goes on, get over it." We then transition to the baldy eating his lousy excuse of a meal. Just then some banter catches the man's attention as someone is heard asking if he knew what happened. He speculated that our guy has been placed in isolation for beating up everyone in his room, as another expressing genuine curiosity about the reason behind it. Meanwhile, the inmates gossip like middle schoolers. He beat up the whole room because someone mocked his dead girlfriend. The man states that a new top dog is coming, unaware of the looming hand behind him. The guy delivered a decisive strike with intense force, embodying his determination and focus as he executed a powerful slam. He, confident and teasing, smirked as he extended his hand playfully, implying that the other inmates was having a lot of fun over there. Enter this douchebag, the kind of guy who looks like he eats drywall for breakfast. He asks if they think it's funny someone beat their top dog. Nobody breathes. The bastard, looking confidently and leaning forward, challenged with a defiant tone whether they would try it with him too. Everyone suddenly becomes allergic to eye contact, as they state they would never lay their hands on their master and wouldn't dream of it. Leaning in, the guy asks if the guy's head was okay. "I mean, come on, it's obvious you don't care." Feeling distressed and embarrassed, the man apologized for his mistake, insisting that he was fine and expressing regret for being stupid. Then he hears the name of the MC and the look on his face says, "Oh, a challenge." A week has gone by since that incident. He listened intently to the guard, who calmly explained that the blondie was still in the hospital. He explains he only waited a week to send our bro back because he understands the situation. Translation: I get it, kid, I'd have swung too. He was advised to keep his head down, emphasizing the tense and cautious atmosphere surrounding him. As our guy makes his way back to his cell, all eyes are on him like a honey bun. Juvenile Detention Rule 1. Nobody beats the top dog and walks away like it's a side quest. We then see one man charging at our guy, telling him to come here. And the boys greet him like he just returned from a war arc. One guy's all smiles, acting like they're best friends now. Bro, you were silent when the beatdown happened. He tells the MC to lie down and rest, pretending he's the welcoming committee, stating that isolation must suck. The bald man sighs, not tired, just done with everyone's nonsense. As he reflects on something, he states that in school people care about grades, looks, parents, popularity. But in juvie, none of that matters. It's all about power, who can hit the hardest, who people fear the most. We cut to the prisoners, using the little freedom they have outside. We then see Baldy Aura farming against the barbed wire fence, holding a book in his hands. Just then our boy calls out to him, getting his attention. The MC asks, "Why'd you do it?" And the man then plays dumb, "Do what?" The MC clarifies, "That day I was gonna kill Blondie bastard," but Baldy stopped him. He points out that he himself has killed 7 people himself, so why stop him? As this guy looks at our boy, I just know he's thinking, man, I get I killed 7 guys, but he's a complete lunatic. As the man opens his mouth to answer. And that's when the new problem walks in. The idiot shows up like he's been waiting for this moment. He sizes him up and immediately starts roasting our boy. "You're a lot smaller than I thought." Classic prison greeting. He asks how our bro beat the top dog if he's this tiny, then answers his own question, "Oh right, Blondie's always been weak." With a stern tone, the guy asks why did he rebel. Then he asks the real question, "You want to be top dog that bad?" But our guy shuts it down instantly, "Get lost, I don't care about that." The guy smirks, "Did your mom never teach you manners?" And then he kicks the MC hard like he's trying to send him into another flashback. He calls him a cockroach and says he hates when bugs don't know their place. Yeah, this dude's begging for karma. He says since Blondie was too scared to do it, he'll teach him a lesson. The man delivered a fierce and powerful punch, showcasing his aggressive and determined nature as he struck the MC with intense force. Feeling a surge of fury, he declared that he would teach what happens when a dog bites its master, launching an aggressive attack with intense violence. Just then, a guard catches this guy red-handed. He hits the guy with one of those "you know you fucked up right" looks without saying anything. The man looked distressed and overwhelmed as he realized he had been caught off guard, acknowledging his defeat with a frantic, muffled expletive. But maybe not. This shitty excuse of an officer just leaves, pretending like he saw nothing. With a mocking tone, he states that there was something our boy didn't know. He explained the harsh rules of the detention center, noting that the rule allowed top dogs to beat anyone they wanted to maintain order. Encouraging resistance with an intense expression, he boldly gestured toward the MC and urged him to fight back. He begged for our bro to put hands on him like he did with the blondie, never seen someone desperate to get beat up. The man with a furious and defiant expression challenged the baldy loudly, demanding to know what was going on with the protagonist. Bro's trying way too hard. He wonders why our guy isn't reacting, thinking maybe he fell asleep. Lifting his arm, the man states that he prefers it when they struggle. Just then we see our bro eyeing something that catches his attention. We are shown the idiot's tattoo of a dragon. The same tattoo that our MC's father has, signifying that there was some correlation. The guy reflected that the MC didn't sound that scared when he was talking confidently. The inmate tries to talk tough again. "Oh, is it about the girl?" He mentions the truck accident, and that's the last line he gets out. Our boy kicks him so hard the panel practically shakes. With swift movement, he moves behind his enemy and overpowers him, slamming him into the fence. The protagonist gazed intensely with a furious expression, demanding that the guy repeat what they had just said. Just then, not hearing what our boy just said, the guy tries to talk. Slam, he gets his face smashed into the ground, like a bird looking for worms. You'd think that the guy would shut it by now, but no, he threatens our bro, demanding he let go of him. But he only makes matters worse and he gets slammed again, but this time head first into the fence. Just then our guy focused intensely as he twisted the man's arm with determined resolve. He desperately pleaded for the situation to stop, shouting for the MC to hold on. But with one clean crack, the guy's arm is done for. Man, if only his parents taught him how to stop talking and read the room. The MC starts beating him like he's deleting trauma one punch at a time. While beating this pig, our bro starts remembering something from when he was a child. The protagonist stood before the blood-stained man, and he thought that he had nowhere else to direct his rage. He remembers how he had nowhere to put his anger except into that dragon's eyes, talking about the tattoo. The scene shifts to the past. The judgmental grandma asserted that she had heard the MC's father was a gangster, suggesting that all the bruises on him must be from that. They discussed that the neighborhood's biggest problem was the MC, as he walked down the street with a determined and focused expression. With bruises on his face, he remarked at how he was always good at keeping his head down, entering his house with a slow creak from the door. Just then from outside, our bro hears screaming. Barging into his house, he lamented that he recognized the voice. Suddenly, his father called out to our boy, expecting his arrival. We then see her crush lying defeated like Goku from that one scene, as his father just stand there. He looked down with concern as his father questioned him about his friend, asking if she was the one he cared for. Our guy screamed out in panic for the girl, worrying for her. Recalling the tense confrontation, the dad reflected on how she had barged into their house and had the audacity to tell him that he should never lay a finger on the MC again and expressed that it would be better if he was gone, revealing his inner turmoil and frustration. He was determined and intense, recalling that he had to teach her a lesson to assert his dominance. Balling his fist in anger from the sight he is seeing, he comments that he was so good at keeping his head down, is finally about to stand up and stop being a loser. With his back turned and a stern voice, he warned that if she ever talks to him like that again, he'd send her where her parents are, oblivious to our bro about to crack his skull open. The protagonist, haunted and desperate, raised his bloodied fist in a tense confrontation, asserting that he just couldn't stand it. He stood silently beside his father's hospital bed, processing the news that his father was in a coma. Doctors say the chance of him waking up is basically zero. He continues, saying that it would take a miracle, really. But our boy doesn't care about his father, because for the first time in his life, he and his crush was safe. The protagonist, standing in the foreground with a contemplative expression amid a crowd of onlookers, they were astonished as they processed the recent event and reflected on how his actions had once again surprised everyone around him. The inmates whisper just right after isolation too. Yard time ends, everyone returns to their rooms like nothing happened. The warden apologizes for the noise, acting like this is just another Tuesday. He was holding a steaming cup and a saucer while thoughtfully explaining that all of those boys were very energetic. The military officer, sitting with a cup and expressing relief, mentioned that he was glad the other person was doing well and had recently been discharged from the hospital. He extended a calm and authoritative offer of assistance, reassuring the person that they should not hesitate to reach out if he could help in any way. He, wearing glasses and with a serious expression, posed an important question that carried a sense of urgency and determination. Then he asks the final question to the figure, which inmate was he planning on visiting? We transition to inside the inmate's cell as every sits there crisscross. We see the bald man writing something down in his diary like a little girl. The guy's been writing since he first entered. I think he wants to become a future writer. We see him jotting down on how he think they ended up in the same room. With a total lunatic, I told you guys, I knew this is how Baldy thought of him. Just then, from outside the door, the guard call for inmate number 7190. He states for the person to come with him. Just then, the guard delivers a shocking statement that our boy here has a visitor. Walking down the hallway, heart pounding like a drum. He stared intensely, visibly worn and contemplative, questioning his own worth as he wondered who would want to visit him. Our bro starts trauma dumping on us like we're his therapist, stating that his mom ran away when he was a kid and he lost all contact with his relatives. Looking up, he wonders to himself just who might it be. A shocking turn or revelation reveals that he's standing right outside the warden's office. He looked shocked as a guard took him nervously towards the ominous warden's office, questioning why he was being led there. We see a man saying, "Long time no see." Yeah, nothing terrifying ever starts with that line. Our guy here is bamboozled. Who could this mysterious person ever so be? The man says he enjoyed watching the MC play with his friends in the yard. Bro, that wasn't playtime, that was trauma aerobics. Our bro freezes, saying, how is this possible? Because the man talking is his father. He stutters, "You shouldn't be here," which is the polite version of "How are you alive?" The warden steps in like he's hosting a surprise party. Whispering into his ear, the warden mocked our guy, saying that he seems surprised. I mean, if I was in his shoes, and the person we beat me was there, I would be too. The warden, sharing the uplifting news that his father had just regained consciousness, regarded it as truly a miracle according to the doctors. The warden asks if he's relieved. Yeah, relieved like someone just told him his debt doubled. Our boy couldn't process it. The doctors said recovery was impossible. And yet here this man is breathing, talking, ruining The father explains he struggled to accept it at first, his contemplative expression emphasizing his inner turmoil. He reflected on how, despite being part of a gang his whole life, he had been fatally attacked not by enemies or the police. He revealed that his own son had betrayed him, leaving him in a coma, and the tense atmosphere underscored the gravity of his words. He exclaimed that when he awoke and realized who had put him there, he was overjoyed, so much so the guy began crying. Bro said, finally my son proved himself. This is not parenting, this is villain origin story energy. He says he finally understands the pride of a parent. Yeah, nothing says proud dad like applauding your kid for attempted murder. Then he drops the line nobody wanted to hear, "There's nothing I wouldn't do for you," and when a gangster dad says that, it's never good. He says he had no choice and our bro's stomach drops. Then he says it calm casual like he's talking about groceries. I killed her. We then flash back to when the girl got ran over. Gasping for breath, the weary girl looked down with signs of distress, struggling to recover from the intense ordeal. Noticing someone, she pleaded and begged for someone to help here. But just then, her eyes widen in shock and freezes like she just saw the devil clock in for work. He mocks her, saying, "You look like you've seen a ghost, sir, you are the ghost." He repeats what she told him, saying that our boy would be better off without him, right? Then he says parents should go to great lengths for their kids, like what he's about to do for his son. But turning his back and walking away, he tells her she wouldn't understand. Because she's never known her parents' love. Bro, that's not a flex. Imagine dying and the person you hate the most is roasting you. The dad, with a mocking tone, confronted the anxious and introspective protagonist, accusing him of being a weakling who would never stand up for anything, not even himself. He says, but that day he saw potential. He says she was the key to unlocking our bro's potential, like this was some VR game. And he wished that he realized it sooner. I mean, look at our boy, sweat beads dripping down his face listening to this bullshit. Then he repeats it, I killed the girl to help you reach your full potential. Just then the warden looks surprised as something catches his attention. He calls out for someone to stop the MC. With intense determination, the MC swung his clenched fist downward, launching a decisive attack. But just then, the protagonist quickly turned towards to the devices connected to his back, reacting to the unexpected surprise. Our boy starts screaming like a man possessed as they restrain him. He looked relieved as he adjusted his collar, sighing like this is just another Tuesday. The father looks at our boy and asks if he wants revenge. He asks if killing him would make the MC happy. Bro, you don't need to ask, the answer is yes. Then he says he'll tell our bro the only way he could kill him. He explains several gang members are in the facility. Despite considering the tattooed children as barely useful now, he remained confident that some of them would eventually become vital members of their gang. With a confident tone, he wants our boy to prove he's the best among them. He issued a commanding order declaring that he wanted the MC to conquer the Juvenile Detention Center, his tone resolute. He stood over our boy, resolutely explaining that he had to gain the respect of his gang and climb as high as he could. And eventually, he'll get the chance to stab his father in the neck. His father says that once our boy kills him, he must then swallow the Sky Dragon gang whole. This seems like a divine rank quest. Our bro better get some good drops. Reflecting on his sacrifices, the dad expressed that our guy would achieve a goal he could never come close to, despite having worked his entire life for it. The father says his life will finally be complete thanks to the MC. As he gets ready to leave, he tells the warden to take care of his son, and they bow like he's royalty. But suddenly one of the guards called out. Voice shaky, the warden nervously asked what was the problem. But the MC clenches his fist, he's shaking, breathing heavy, and he says the coldest line he's ever spoken, what makes you think I'm gonna wait? He launched forward, eyes dead calm, and exclaimed that his father was dying today as we see the look of pure hatred on his face. Suddenly we open with tension already in the air. The enforcer bows his head and apologizes to the MC. The man, determined and fierce, unleashed his strength with a powerful action that caused an explosive impact on the ground, emphasizing his intense resolve. Because apparently beating up the boss's son is just his job, corporate culture is wild. Just then something catches the man off guard, thinking to himself that it was impossible. The MC was struggling fiercely against the enforcer of the Sky Dragon gang. He declared the MC to be just a boy, and believed that his strength should have been enough to overpower our bro, especially since he was without the use of his arms. The father watches and steps into the scene with that cold, detached vibe, calling the kid his poor foolish son like he's disappointed the MC even tried to resist in the first place. As the atmosphere shifts, his father orders our guy to look around. Because no matter how hard he tries, he can't touch a single hair on his body, delivering the line like he's reading a grocery list. He emphasized that being rash would only lead to failure, standing imposing in his sharp suit. Dad continues with that cold confidence, reminding our boy that he must become king of the detention center if he ever wants the chance to snap his neck. He ends his yapping, leaving the room with a smile that says good luck, kid, while also explaining that he'll be seeing the MC again. The scene slides into the woodworking room, where 3397 is hammering away like he's crafting legendary weapons. The guard then tells him to take it easy because he already met his quota, as he responded with a yes sir daddy, whatever you say. We then see some inmates whispering that he's so good with a hammer, he probably used it to bash in his victims' skulls. Another inmate chimes in saying 3397 doesn't even look like a murderer, and that he used to be a total loser, right as a kid walks in with a toolbox. The man tells the kid good job and to place the toolbox over there on the shelf. The kid freezes mid-step as the scene shifts toward the familiar face of the baldy. And he drops the toolbox in result of seeing this guy, I'm guessing either an old friend or an old enemy. Someone shouted at the boy asking why he dropped the toolbox. The kid quickly apologized, explaining that his hands had slipped in a tense moment. But with a devilish smile, he remarked at what a surprise this was. The tattooed freak called out to the baldy, signaling some type of connection. This new guy reminds the Baldy they haven't seen each other since middle school, and we find out he's locked up for robbery and arson, so yeah, not exactly the reunion our boy was hoping for. The arson guy says he saw the kid on the news but never expected to meet him in here, sounding way too excited about it, like getting jailed with an old classmate is some kind of twisted class reunion special. The kid asks if he actually remembers him. And the dude confirms he does, which immediately sets off alarm bells because when a guy like that remembers you, it's never for something good. The arson guy says this is perfect because there's something he's been dying to ask, and the tone turns creepy fast, like he's been waiting for this moment ever since he saw the headlines. He leans in and asks if it's really true that the kid killed 7 people, repeating the rumor from the news with this messed up mix of fascination and disbelief. He admits that's what the news said and says he knows what the Baldy used to be like back in middle school, which makes the accusation feel even more off, like reality and rumor just don't line up. The Baldy butts in, confused, asking what that's supposed to mean, and arson dude quickly backpedals, saying he's not implying anything, just that the kid used to be a model student, the kind of guy nobody would ever suspect of murder. The officer cuts into the awkward tension, telling everyone to shut up and get back to their stations, and the inmates instantly snap to obedience, throwing out quick yes sirs while the creepy mood still lingers in the air. As he's dragged away by routine, the arson guy waves and tells the kid he'll see him around, sounding way too cheerful, like he's already planning the next round of psychological torture. We then see our down in the dumps of a MC, sitting down contemplating that beating he just endured. Nope, just kidding, our boy admits he knows exactly what he has to do to kill his father. But the problem is he doesn't even know where to start, like he's staring up at a mountain with no path. The inmates, visibly irritated as they expressed their hunger and frustration, questioning why they kept being fed vegetables and sarcastically wondered if they were rabbits. Another guy jokes they should report the prison for human rights violations, and honestly with this menu he kind of has a point. The veggie-hating inmate says at this point he would literally kill for a slice of pizza, which hits way too close to home considering half the room is in for violent crimes. Another inmate reminds him they're in prison, calling him an idiot, but the dude doubles down and says that's exactly why he'd kill for pizza. The MC's eyes darken a bit at the phrase something to kill for, like that casual line hits a nerve and echoes his own violent resolve toward his father. Someone suddenly hushes the group because an officer is walking by, and the whole group snaps into nervous silence, pretending they weren't just talking about homicide over salad. Just then we see our bro standing at the window calling out to the officer. The officer casually asks if there's a problem. Our boy speaks up and says there's no real problem, he just wants to ask something, which already sounds like he's about to pull some unhinged main character move. He calmly asks if he can get some pizza delivered to the prison, basically speed running the most shameless request of the year award in front of a correctional officer. The officer explodes, shouting his inmate number and asking if he's forgotten that he's in prison, like he can't believe this clown just tried to DoorDash in solitary confinement. The officer drags him out, ordering him to come outside now, and everyone probably assumes our boy is about to get wrecked for daring to crave cheese and carbs behind bars. Smash cut to later and one inmate is stretching in delight, because somehow he's actually eating pizza, and it tastes so amazing he looks like he just ascended to a higher plane of existence. Another inmate is on the verge of tears, saying he can't believe they're eating takeout in prison right now, acting like this greasy slice is a religious experience. The table erupts in emotional gratitude, with one guy saying he's literally crying because the food is so good, which honestly might be the moment in this whole place. Someone tells our boy he's the absolute best, basically crowning him the patron saint of prisoners and junk food. The MC reflects that it looks like he's getting special treatment from the warden and officers, and deep down he knows it's all thanks to his status as that monster's son, which is both a cheat code and a curse. He figures he needs to find out just how much freedom they're willing to give him, testing the limits of this VIP treatment born from being the son of a literal monster in human skin. One of the guys nervously asks if our boy is some kind of celebrity, stumbling over his words as he calls him boss, already upgrading him from inmate to local prison legend. Another dude wonders if his dad is a congressman or if he's just mega rich, because in their world, only money or power explains why someone gets pizza privileges in hell. The MC, balling his fist, silently vows he's going to do everything he can to get his revenge, treating every tiny bit of favoritism as a stepping stone toward killing his father. He decides that if he has to benefit from his father's status and connections to pull it off, then so be it, swallowing his pride in exchange for a chance at patricide. One of the guys calls out to the gloomy kid from earlier, telling him to come over and eat some pizza, trying to drag him into this rare happy moment. Another inmate shrugs it off and says to leave the kid alone because he's been acting weird as hell all day, like his brain is trapped somewhere way darker than this. They point out he looks even more gloomy than usual and wonder if something happened, hinting that everybody in here can tell he's carrying a different kind of weight on his shoulders. The scene shifts to our elf little bro and the gloomy Baldy, going hard at work to craft toys in time for Christmas. In the workshop again, the same troublemaker with the slippery hands dramatically announces that his hand is about to slip again, like he's about to accidentally cause another problem. And what do you know, the box just so happens to land on Baldy. Sure enough, he spills things on purpose and then fake apologizes with an oopsie, blaming his super oily palms. Weaponizing fake clumsiness while staring at Baldy like this is step one of some nasty plan. The Baldy he's targeting freezes and quietly says his name, demanding to know what the hell he's doing, but his voice is already shaking because deep down he knows this isn't just clumsy behavior. Just then, two inmates intervene, asking if they're sure this is the right guy, and guys, were used to this, guys sticking their heads where it don't belong. One of them asks why the Baldy is looking at the arson kid like that, because the vibe isn't friendly at all, it's the kind of stare you give someone you used to own. The bully scoffs and says he thought the Baldy was supposed to be some wimpy loser, like that was always his role in life, and this murder charge doesn't fit the script. The big guy then accuses the kid of lying about being the head of his school gang, like the idea of this trembling guy being a boss is the funniest thing he's heard all week. The bully laughs it off and swears he wasn't lying, insisting that back in the day the kid was always such a good little servant to him, basically admitting he used to treat him like a personal punching bag. He tells the kid not to pretend he forgot the beautiful memories they made together, twisting the word beautiful into something sick, clearly talking about all the times he tormented him. Then he says maybe this will jog the kid's memory and moves in closer, making it obvious that whatever's coming next is not going to be a friendly nostalgia trip. The scene shifts to somewhere dark. The bully tells him to stop trembling so much, using his fear as entertainment while calling him by name like he still owns him. Barely holding it together, the kid begs him to stop, voice cracking as he says please stop. But the bully just pretends he can't hear him. From outside, stretching out the cruelty like this is all a game. The kid breaks down further and starts begging properly now, stuttering that he's pleading for his life and asking to be let out. The bully plays dumb and says he doesn't know about that, acting like he's seriously considering it when everyone can tell he's loving every second of this power trip. He grins and says the real fun hasn't even started yet, making it clear this is just the warm-up to something way more twisted he has planned. He suddenly hypes things up, asking if everyone's ready like he's starting a party instead of a psychological torture session. The bastard starts counting down and the kid trembles so hard it looks like his whole body is vibrating, his fear turning into a physical earthquake. Finally, he screams one and we just see how disgusting this guy truly is. Cutting back to the present, the bully asks if that helped jog his memory a bit, like terror is some kind of therapeutic treatment. He points out the way the kid is shaking and calls him a pathetic wimp, loudly mocking him in front of everyone to reestablish the same hierarchy they had back in school. Grabbing a handful of nails, he confidently says there's no way this idiot managed to kill anybody, dismissing the murder charges like they're a bad joke because the kid in front of him still looks like the same helpless victim. But just then the Baldy grabs the arson little kid, standing 10 toes down. He offers to show everyone how he supposedly did it, implying that if anyone's going to reenact a killing here, it's going to be on his terms, with the kid as the helpless prop. Before things can go any further, the break suddenly ends and an officer shouts that it's over, ordering everyone back to their stations like a buzzkill referee stopping a street fight at the best part. As they're forced to separate, the blondie shoves the Baldy's hand off him and tells him to get his hand off, showing a tiny spark of resistance under all that shaking. Another inmate whines that it was just about to get heated, disappointed the show got cancelled right when it was peaking in pure drama and violence potential. Time skip and this idiot asks a simple question about two gods. And a couple of guys are bickering about something completely different, arguing over whether Jesus or Buddha is stronger like they're debating who would win in a divine MMA match. One guy accuses the other of declaring war on his religion over biscuits and burgers, and their dumb fight becomes the comic relief. They say they're heading off to their religious services, leaving with playful bickering as they go, like this is just another weird routine part of prison life. Later, in a quieter moment, we see our bro and Baldy sitting silently like a Japanese couple in a first-time date, waiting for the other to break the silence. The MC thanks the Baldy, saying he would had to rot in here for another decade if he hadn't stopped him earlier from doing something reckless and permanent. The Baldy was surprised and admits he thought the MC was mad about being stopped, confused by the sudden shift from anger to gratitude. Our guy explains he's had a change of heart because now he's got a real reason to get out of here. And that reason is to confront the person who killed his friend. He says the one he needs to face is his own father, dropping that bomb like it's casual, even though it makes his whole revenge mission sound 10 times heavier. The Baldy looking confused and says he thought the MC's father was in a coma, because that's what he believed up until now. Our guy brushes it off and says it's a long story, clearly not ready to unpack that trauma in the middle of a room. He explains the important thing is that he doesn't plan on staying in prison a second longer than he has to, and now he's got a clear purpose pulling him forward. Then the Baldy states that's a pretty shitty thing to say to someone who's going to be stuck here for 20 years, calling out how messed up it sounds. The MC awkwardly apologizes, saying that's not what he meant, clearly realizing he stepped right onto a landmine of emotions. Trying to smooth things over, our boy promises he'll repay him someday, even if he has no idea how that payback is supposed to work outside these walls. The other guy shrugs it off with a whatever, acting tough about it, but the weight of that promise still hangs between them like an invisible chain. Just then, we see the Baldy getting presented with a key to escape jail. Just kidding, guys. It's the key to the woodworking room. The guard apologizes to the gloomy kid, admitting something urgent came up with his family, so he has to go, leaving behind the workshop to him. The Baldy, responding politely in a casual manner, reassured the guard that he would ensure the place was clean when he left and expressed gratitude, to which the latter responded that there was no problem. On the table, the Baldy sees a moth just chilling like he's in paradise, and not some rundown prison. Flashback hits and little Arson Boy is showing off a pinned moth like it's his prized trophy, bragging he did it himself. While our boy stares in disgust because yeah, bugs are gross as hell. Baldy calls the boy his very first friend, but bro's screaming you, because moths and butterflies freak him out, total scaredy cat moment that has Arson Boy chuckling like a mini psycho. The scene shifts to school, with some students talking about how Bug Boy creeps them out. With all his bug collections he's always carrying around, calling them gross. The bullies approach him, wondering if he's gonna snack on them or something, roasting the dude hard behind his back. The bullies mock him by offering to feed him the bugs like baby food, open wide bullshit snickering, while Baldy steps up to shut it down because class president energy kicking in. He tells them he knows they've got nothing better to do and to get back to their seats now. But the whispers hit that Baldy's definitely docking penalty points, like school's own petty revenge system. The man checks if his friend's alright and the bug kid stammers yeah thanks. Bug Bye smiled eagerly and questioned if that he was still coming over that day, adding a playful tone with a light-hearted laugh. Bug Boy comments that he's so excited to play that new game, haha, innocent vibes, but just then the other classmates call out to Baldy. The soccer kids pull him away, want to play after school against Homeroom 4, and he hesitates saying he got plans but caves because Class Pre's duty calls, hinting at a rift forming between the two. Baldy reflected that they had grown even more distant, after being assigned to different homerooms, as he stood outside the window with a melancholic and contemplative expression, guessing Bug Boy had already gone back home. Just then some students gossip about Bug Boy, one asking the other if he heard what happened to him. The students confirmed that the Bug Boy had become the school bully's latest target, with one revealing that he had seen him being beaten up once. Just then one shouts out that Bug Boy just got dragged to the storage room like fresh meat, which sends a shock to Baldy. The guy starts sprinting as fast as he possibly can, about to run a 4.4 in the 100-meter dash. We then see our Baldy huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf after finding the storage room. The Baldy asks where Bug Boy is, and the bullies play dumb like oh that loser, I wonder. Just then one bully calls out to Bug Boy, saying there he is right there. But not just anywhere, right behind Baldy and guys, just look at his face, that's not Bug Boy anymore. Bug Boy then shoves him right into the locker like it's comedy gold. The Baldy appeared shocked and distressed, looking out from behind as he questioned in a tense and worried voice what the other person was doing, clearly sensing a threat. The door slams and suddenly our Baldy is the one shoved into the cramped storage room locker. One bully from outside calling him the bug flying right into the trap, hyping Baldy up as a special specimen like this is a nature documentary from hell. The bully brags that he told Bug Boy he could join their little gang if he handed over his favorite insect, and this is what he brought, laughing like this is peak comedy instead of straight betrayal. The Baldy bangs on the door, shouting, "What are you doing? Let me out," but Bug Boy holds him back, telling him not to move. He then continues calmly saying that now that he has his insect, he just needs to pin it while it's still alive, full-on serial killer energy. Cutting back to the present, Bug Boy starts ranting about how people like butterflies but hate moths, wondering why everyone finds one pretty and the other disgusting, clearly projecting every childhood trauma onto this poor. He squeezes the moth, saying it reminds him of how he used to be. Bug Boy blames everything on our Baldy here, crunching it in his hand like he's crushing his own past, while the Baldy has no idea what script this guy is reading from. When the Baldy demands to know what he's talking about, he tells him not to play dumb, accusing him of pretending to be nice and caring just so he could distance himself and stab him in the back later, rewriting their whole friendship as a long con. He says that in his eyes, Bug Boy he was the disgusting moth, while Baldy Man was the pretty butterfly everyone loved. And the day he decided that, every day felt like he was living on the edge of a cliff with no ground under him. He spits that it was all because of Baldy, but life is full of surprises. Because who had thought the so-called butterfly would jump off that cliff himself by killing 7 people, according to the news. Clenching his fist, Bug Boy stated that when he heard on TV that the Baldy murdered 7 people. He felt like he was soaring, like karma finally clocked in and did overtime just for him, calling it a wonderful thing with this twisted little smile. The Baldy stares him down and says he's completely delusional, and man do I agree, how are you blaming him for you turning out like this? But the idiot shrugs that he doesn't care if he's delusional because the Baldy already screwed up his life. And now he's gonna make sure it only gets worse from here. One of the bullies stares in shock as he grabs Baldy, muttering, "Damn, you're really something else," because this bug-obsessed freak even bribed the officer to make this torture party happen. The bastard grins and says the real party's just getting started, repeating that now he has his insect. He needs to pin it while it's alive, doubling down on the psycho collector vibe like our boy's just another display case specimen. Our boy panics and yells, "No, wait." But Bug Boy cuts him off, saying it's all because of him. The trapped dude realizes this nutcase thinks he can pull the same storage room bullshit twice. The bastard laughs that he forgot to mention he left a little gift inside for him, whatever nightmare fuel he planted in there with the Baldy. He casually tells Baldy to say hello to his friends, while we see bugs crawling everywhere from left to right. Just then, mocking our boy, the idiot asked, "What do you think, Baldy? You like it?" hyping his bug squad like a proud dad. But suddenly Bug Boy wonders why the Baldy isn't screaming yet, muttering that he couldn't even handle butterflies before, so this should have him losing his shit, but the silence is pissing him off now. We then see Baldy making the face of someone who's trying to either hold in the most deadliest fart or the most explosive diarrhea. One bully scoffs, saying that he guesses the Baldy doesn't feel like entertaining them today. Laughing it off like this is all still a hilarious game. One bully hesitates, asking if they're sure about this because, yeah, the guy really is a murderer after all. But idiot scoffs, "So what? Not even a killer scares this bug psycho apparently." The other dude laughs, impressed that nothing phases Bug Boy. The blondie smirks that he hasn't even started the main event yet, promising to make the Baldy scream like a dying pig real soon. And suddenly our boy bursts out of nowhere like a demon, asking how exactly he's planning to do that, scaring the shit out of everyone, who yells, "Where the hell did you come from?" The protagonist, with a look of intrigue, questioned his opponent about how he planned to make him scream, heightening the suspense of the scene. Our boy grabs one inmate by the collar, demanding if this was how he planned on making him scream, and then grabs his arm and starts twisting it like he's returning the favor with interest. The next punching bag rushes in, yelling, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" But our boy just smirks and delivers a kick, knocking the idiot against the locker. Our bro then calls out to Baldy. Bug Boy's down howling like a bitch, and our boy leans in close, telling Baldy to consider his debt repaid. Cut to earlier, another inmate asks where Baldy is, and someone says the detention officer called him to the probably to clean up something, because late-night janitor duty never sleeps. Just then the MC calls out to the officer, getting his attention. Our boy shows up looking serious, but it's so damn late the officer does a double take like, "Oh, you again." Already annoyed, this troublemaker keeps popping up like bad plot armor. He straight up asks the officer to open the door. And the dude pauses like, "What did you say?" Brain buffering, because inmates don't just demand keys like their hotel guests. Cutting back to the fight, the tall dude says he recognizes our boy, calling out his name, muttering he's heard this kid's been stirring shit up lately. Connecting the dots from seeing him with Baldy before, now it's all clicking. Bug Boy fakus that he's jealous, wishing he had a loyal little buddy like Baldy too. Wondering out loud where he could find one, dripping sarcasm like prison's own stand-up routine, the big guy tries playing tough, calling Bug Boy pretty damn funny. Then pivots to, "Hey bro, you seem loyal, I like it. Wanna be my buddy too?" Like this freak thinks he can recruit the guy who's just about to wreck him. But the idiot, in less than a second, is now doing a 180, surprised, thinking, "How the hell did I end up here?" But he won't be thinking any longer, because his head is caved in from the slam he receives. Our boy stares deadpan and slams back, "I would rather die," rejecting the idiot's buddy offer like it's radioactive, door slamming shut on that delusional ass while the tension spikes hard. As this idiot thinks he's safe, our guy calls out to him, telling Bug Boy he went a bit overboard, "Don't you think?" Our boy demands to know why'd he do this, and he snaps back, questioning if he really went overboard. He snaps, saying, "Are you kidding me?" exploding because in his twisted head this is payback for years of hell. He rants, "Do you have any idea what kind of hell I went through because of that traitor?" accusing Baldy of acting like his one and only childhood friend, while plotting to take him down the whole time behind his back. Bug Boy gives a warning, tell the MC he should always watch his back. Just then, the huge Hulk figure springs back up, stating the MC couldn't get rid of him that easily, like a bad rash. The Bug Boy, with a tense expression reflecting frustration and determination, angrily declared that he had been just biding his time and called the MC an idiot, clearly expressing his mounting irritation. The idiot, appearing smug and excitedly, encouraged violence by shouting for the inmate to go on and break his neck. The tense confrontation continued as the captor demanded whether the MC still refused to be his buddy, while the MC, vulnerable and fearful, struggled against his grip. But our boy's only thinking how the big guy is way too strong, and he almost feels bad for what he's about to do almost. He decides that even if he feels a bit guilty, he can at least make sure the big oaf never uses that one finger again. Before our guy can even process that, Blondie stabs him, proud of himself and asking how our boy likes that, while the giant to the side praises him like, "Nice one, knew they could count on him." Meanwhile, the big dude tightens his grip until our MC can't breathe, his lungs burning and bones creaking. Just then Baldy comes to save the day. This guy tells him to relax or he'll break his neck, like that's some kind piece of advice. Then Bug Boy realizes the Blondie slipped out of that locker like a damn eel, leaving him confused as hell about how he escaped. He doesn't have time to process as our guy hits him with a swift roundhouse, maybe knocking some teeth out in the process. Our bro laments on how that was a close one. Despite his struggle against the chains, the giant declared that Baldy's strength was not enough to hold him back, embodying his defiant spirit. This goof, still thinking he has a chance, becomes a cheerleader for the big guy, telling him to keep pulling against the chain. But the Baldy just grits his teeth, repeating the same line again. About relaxing or he'll break his neck, except now it's a threat, not a suggestion anymore. I mean, the guy's struggling to herd blood starts dripping down the chain. There's this cold, dripping tension in the air as he tells him to relax unless they want to die, and that's when they realize the roles flipped hard. But being the hard-headed guy he was, he didn't listen, and because of that he fell like an ripe apple from a tree. The Baldy's all tired out like he just got off a 9 to 5. But of course not too tired to teach another loser a lesson, the guy starts backpedaling, panting and begging, saying to wait. Stammering that he's the victim, that the Baldy made him do this, trying to rewrite reality mid-beating. He claims he was just defending himself, didn't do anything wrong, and then the tears turn on. He bows his head, apologizing, begging our guy to forgive him, calling him by name, trying to play the pathetic loser card. He insists he was just being stupid. Tries that old "you know me, I'm just a dumb loser, let's pretend this never happened" routine, hoping the old dynamic will save him. But the Baldy finally says the line that cuts deeper than any stab. He says he never once thought of this dude as a dumb loser. The other guy freezes, confused. And the Baldy lays it out. This dude ruined his life with his selfish victim complex, always acting like the world was bullying him to excuse his own crap. For a second, the guy admits he seriously considered killing him, and kind of jokes darkly that it wouldn't even be a big deal since he's already in prison for killing 7 people, like what's one more body on the pile. But then the guy says he doesn't think he hates him that much, reminding him they used to be friends once, and that little shred of humanity is the only reason he's still breathing. Of course, the peanut gallery in the back calls the Baldy soft-hearted, mocking him as a pansy, promising that they're going to take advantage of it and get him back later. But the idiot was so deep in thought, he failed to see the incoming leg of our bro, who exclaimed that the stab wound Blondie gave him hurt. The next moment, that trash talker gets wrecked, sent flying with a kick that bounces him off the ground like a basketball before he crashes. And our boy says that should make them even, like he just casually paid off a debt in pan. The scene shifts, the MC, sitting with a questioning expression, suddenly asked that he had a question for the Baldy. The MC basically calling him out. He wants to know if Baldy here is an idiot, sparking him to respond where the hell that came from. Our guy says he doesn't get it. The Baldy killed 7 people, but was terrified of that scrawny little blonde kid earlier. The MC admits he doesn't know the full story between them, but he can tell that deep down the Baldy doesn't see that blonde as a threat. The MC winced in pain but maintained his composure as he addressed the Baldy with curiosity, noting that he was still here. With a sincere smile, the Baldy thanks our boy for the help. With a smug smile, our boy brushes it off with a whatever. Then everything shifts when a new presence appears. Someone calls out to the Blondie with this eerie tone, making the MC tense up and asking who the hell that is. This new guy steps in like he owns the place, annoyed that he doesn't remember giving Bug Boy permission to leave the room. Instantly setting off walking red flag energy, he rambles about how scared he was. Because there was a cockroach punching as he talks, saying Bug Boy wasn't there to catch it and he was terrified, throwing hits like each word is an accusation. But just then, the maniac complains that blood got all over his face. I mean, when you're punching a guy like that, it's bound to happen. Shuddering at the idea of being dirty, muttering about germs everywhere as he steps closer, clearly way more broken in the head than anyone else here. Suddenly, he grabs our boy, which catches the MC off guard, and starts wiping his face aggressively like he's scrubbing filth off of him. Then pauses and asks what our bro thinks, demanding to know if he looks clean now. He orders him to answer, eyes wild, asking if he's cleaner now. And our guy, looking at the man with pure disgust, tells him no. That he's still dirty, and that one word flips a switch in this lunatic's brain. The guy explodes, screaming if the MC really thinks he's dirty, like that's the worst insult in existence. Just then, a guard yells from afar for everyone to go back to their rooms if they're done with their task. But the tension this dude brings doesn't fade at all. He's like a walking biohazard with fists as he recites our bro's inmate number. The next day, during free time, our MC ends up sitting down and realizes everyone's crowded around him, asking why the hell they're all suddenly sitting next to him. They say it's obvious they're sitting with him because word spread that he totally crushed someone and now everybody knows he's super tough. So no one tries to mess with them as long as they're next to our boy. They laugh about how protected they are, while the Baldy internally wonders why he's even there. But our boy just shrugs it off, warning them just not to bother him, reminding himself he doesn't care about clout, he's got a mission. His goal is tied to a very specific tattoo, a blue dragon with red flowers blooming all around it, something called the flowering dragon. And he's determined to find the guys who wear that mark. When someone asks what he's looking at, he says he's looking for something. The inmate proudly introduces himself as the walking info desk of the place, offering to help. Our MC mentions a tattoo to the desk man. then backs off with a vague nothing, saying it's just something that pisses him off, while his eyes and thoughts stay locked on that tattoo. Meanwhile, back inside their cell, the news rants about how some groups extort and steal from others, as one inmate complains about the TV only having one channel. The news continues, talking about violent crimes by underage gangs rising as our boy remarks on how they were a bunch of idiots. Our boy mutters that those kinds of criminals deserve to rot in prison until they die, clearly projecting his hate. The info guy coughs and reminds him that not everyone in the place is pure evil, then eagerly starts telling the story of what he got locked up for, like it's some epic legend. He describes this amazing place in his neighborhood, going into emotional detail about how chewy the rice cakes were and how god-tier the sauce tasted, proudly calling himself a regular. Then one day a jerk walks in, the spoiled son of a regional congressman who does whatever he wants because daddy always bails him out, and the dude orders like nothing's wrong. When the owner brings out the dish, the congressman's brat loses his mind, screaming that these are rice cakes, and only wheat cakes should be allowed in, then starts trashing the whole place like a food-obsessed lunatic. The info guy says that's when he stepped in like some greasy apron-wearing superhero, telling the kid he heard there was a problem with rice cakes and basically throwing down over carbs. In the end, he claims he seized victory, saved the shop, and became a legendary hero of the restaurant, which also landed him in prison when the politician's son went crying to daddy. He sighs that he doesn't really regret what he did, but before he can spin it further, someone calls him out, asking if he's lying again. The mischievous guy, smirking and amused, teased that Infoman's nickname was Name and Goon, while the others joined in the mockery with playful excitement. Another inmate points out he's surprised this guy is still spreading his stories after getting wrecked in his last room for running his mouth, but the info dude insists all his stories are based on facts, giggling. Just then our bro, the sneaky observer type, says he believes the info man, but it's less about truth and more about how he understands their dynamic. The info guy even compares himself to aphids and bullies to ants. Aphids provide sugar, ants protect them. And that's exactly the kind of leeching relationship he's always had. He states that he lived his entire life sucking up to bullies his whole life. Infoman explains that because he's always lived that way, he's good at reading these types of people, and he's convinced their new top dog, the MC, actually likes him a bit. This guy's master plan is simple and pathetic: become the right-hand man to the new top dog and coast peacefully until the end of his sentence off protection and fear. He's hyped about this chance at a peaceful life, giggling to himself while digging around in the dirt, fully in his little parasite era. Just then, something wet splatters on someone. Guys, this feels like. The guy clutches his heart like he's been stabbed or shot at, but it's just manure. He stops, sniffs, and realizes it stinks like hell. We then see a flashback as someone says that now they're covered in some nasty gunk because of someone else's lies. He freaks out, complaining that he's all dirty now because of this, and says he'll clean out that dirty mouth of someone. But the flashback then appeared to be info guys. He admits to himself he never wanted to run into his last top dog again. The crazy, and now he's here, scrubbing his face raw, screaming that his face is rotting, while he imagines germs and bacteria crawling all over him. He questions what this germ guy is doing here. The info guy panics, apologizing and saying he should been more careful. Just then the dude coldly asks if he's clean now. I feel like I'm forced to say yes. The info guy thinks if he tells the truth and says the guy's dirty, he's dead. So he lies, trembling, saying yes, he's sparkling clean, even though he's shaking like a washing machine on spin cycle. He asks really, then decides to let it slide just this once, not before spraying pesticide like perfume into the guy's eyes though, which immediately burns the info guy's eyes and sends him flailing and screaming in pain. Then Lee explains he's here to ask a favor. And suddenly the mood gets even darker as he brings up a certain inmate in the info guy's room. I think we all know who the guy's referring to. He reminds info guy that this person called him dirty. I mean, he was dirty. The germ man, nervously pleading for understanding and emphasizing how much effort he puts into staying clean, appeared desperate as he asked if info guy knew how hard he tried, to which the latter nodded in response. He then demands help to disinfect, breathing hard. The info guy nods frantically, fully trapped now as part of this psycho's plan, either help him or become his next cleaning project. Somewhere else, time passes and our boy is grinding, training his body like a machine, pushing push-ups and reps while counting. The main character, looking frustrated and determined, continued his search for the elusive dragon tattoo, unable to find any leads despite his relentless effort. Just then Info Man approaches and watches, impressed, saying his form is amazing and he can tell our MC used to lift, just glazing him up. We know you're scheming something. He then offers him grape juice, insisting the glucose will help his body recover after a workout. Yeah, totally nothing suspicious with that. Our guy takes it with a brief thanks, still focused on his mission, but then turns around and casually calls out to Info, asking who gave him the stuff he mixed into the juice. Dang dude must have the nose of a canine to smell it in not even a second. Flashback hits and Info Boy barely gets a break before the crazy phobe is back, whining about why he had to do that to him. Freaking out that he's all dirty now, because of Info Boy's filthy lies. He snarls that now he has to clean out their mouth, literally trying to sanitize this dude like he's a human trash can, gagging him and getting ready for round 2 of bleach-based torture. He grabs a bottle like it's holy water, announcing it's time to sanitize, and you can tell just from his eyes this man treats bleach like a love language. As we see the germ guy realizing he's messed up badly, panicking, thinking what has he done. As bleach starts gurgling and splashing from Info Guy's mouth, turning the room into chemical hell. Continuing, he said his very first room he was assigned to was absolute hell. Man, this guy's luck is horrible. But the germ demon isn't stressing over Info Boy foaming out of the mouth, no. He watches this guy obsess over wiping the floor because it's dirty now. Enough trauma dumping back to the present, Info Guy is dealing with his own stress, getting grilled about the juice. He lies and says he bought it with his own money, then internally freaks out. The protagonist, appearing worried and suspicious while holding the cup, questioned whether there was a reason behind the unexpected gift. He worries that it's only fair for our MC not to trust him, considering all the lies he's told and the fact he literally tried to poison a guy earlier. Our boy throws the grape juice back like it's some hard liquor. He wipes his mouth dry after gulping it down, lamenting that the grape juice was good. Man, this is making me thirsty. Give me a second, guys, I'll be right back. Our bro tells everyone to get ready for bed, reminding them they've got group cleaning scheduled tomorrow, which is honestly the worst sentence anyone in this story could hear. Info Guy thinks bitterly that if he'd known the MC would actually drink that Dr. Juice, he would just laced it properly instead of testing him first. Later, our boy is doodling the flowering dragon tattoo. And Info Boy asks what that cute drawing is, while he thinks internally he has to wait for the right time to strike against our boy. He explains it's the flowering dragon, a blue dragon surrounded by red flowers, and he's clearly studying it like it's his personal wanted poster. But Info Guy isn't listening at all. He's thinking he can't let anyone find out he was the one who fed the MC pesticide. Our guy's still yapping, saying he'll find every thug with that tattoo. Meanwhile, Info Boy's still planning on how to kill our bro. He plans that once he figures out the MC's daily routine, he'll sneak them a drink or something similar. And finally, he catches on. He notices Info Man hesitating like he's got something to say, and asks him directly what his problem is. Info Guy finally blurts out the question that's been eating at him. He wants to know why our boy trusts him so much. He points out he's known as a liar and warns the MC that trusting people too easily is how you get screwed over, basically saying, bro, I am literally a walking red flag. Our boy answers calmly that yes, Info Man is a great liar, which also means he's clever, and he doesn't think someone that's smart would run his mouth and risk ending up on our boy's bad side. A nice cheeky way of saying fuck around and find out, but you're smart enough not to. Lights out is called, the room goes dark, and our boy motions everyone to do the same. And this guy's lies there smirking to himself, thinking that our MC calling him clever is the best compliment he's gotten in his whole pathetic life. The next day, the staff reminds everyone the Department of Justice is doing an inspection, so everything has to be spotless, which again is this germ freak's wet dream and everyone else's nightmare. We then see everyone scrubbing like their lives depend on it. I wonder where that clean freak is. Oh wait, scene shifts to somewhere secluded and we hear someone saying to another, you said you'd sew it. I wonder who this might be. In the middle of that, the phobe corners Info Man again, bringing up how he promised they'd sanitize together, and accusing him of backing out like it's some lover's spat but with more bleach. He panics and tries to bullshit his way out, saying he talked to our boy and claims the MC regrets calling him dirty and wanted to apologize, because apparently lying is his cardio. He tries to frame our MC as shy and introverted, saying that's why he sent him to apologize instead. But the germ freak just cuts him off and calls it lies again. Then decks him, man, when is this guy gonna learn that lying is not his specialty? Bleeding and dazed, Info Man hears clean freak snarl that 7199, the MC is dead. Vowing he's coming for our bro, kicking and raging like an unhinged fueled. The phobe decides if he can't get cooperation, he'll just sanitize both Info Boy and our boy himself, grabbing bleach and twisting the cap with way too much enthusiasm. He splashes the guy's head in the toilet, which is by far the nastiest thing I've seen. Just imagine all the germs, guys. He splashes the stuff, drowning the boy, who gurgles and chokes as he realizes this psycho is really going to kill him this time. Just when it looks like curtains, someone else notices and asks what the hell he's doing in here, calling the scene disgusting, and saying that yes, he the germ freak is dirty. That's when our boy shows up and Info Boy weakly calls his name. Amazed he actually came, and Info Boy demands to know what took him so long. We rewind a bit before this altercation. During cleaning duty, our MC is sweeping like nothing happened. And suddenly Info Boy comes and says he has something to confess, which immediately puts our boy on edge. He explains that someone has been trying to force Info Guy to feed him pesticide, which stops the MC cold. But Info Guy, ever the performer, dramatically declares that he, as a man of honor, refused to betray his dearest friend even while pouring bleach water onto the floor. Man, our guy just finished mopping, how dare you? He vows he'll tell that tattoo thug to go screw himself no matter the consequences and storms off, hyped up on adrenaline and lies. Then he turns back and casually drops the key intel, that flowering dragon tattoo our boy was drawing. He thinks he saw it on the guy who told him to poison the MC. Info Boy just smirks and admits the MC was right. He really is pretty damn clever. Transitioning back to the tense moment, our boy comments he got splashed with some of his piss and complains he got it on his hand. Then cracks a joke that that's what happens when it's too big, wiping it off on the germ freak. Man, that was the biggest disrespect I've ever seen. Just then, of course, Germ Man freaks out over germs, spiraling into a panic attack. The phobe spirals into another panic, screaming about germs and promising to fill our boy up with bleach and melt his insides. But just then, our MC grabs him and slams him, calling him annoying and asking if he ever shuts up. Exposing the flowering dragon tattoo on his body, he realizes this is the one who tried to get Info Boy to kill him. Cracking his knuckles, our guy decides that this is perfect, and guys, that's never a good sign. Because now he doesn't have to feel bad about beating him senseless. From there, it cuts to a kind of commentary-style backstory. An emerging wrestler was famous for a grappling move. His signature move was where he'd wrap his legs around his opponent's torso and squeeze as hard as he could. While holding their hands, everyone thought it was just a ruthless technique, but under the surface it was dirty play. It is then revealed to be Germ Freak using these dirty techniques, of course man, all about not letting opponents admit defeat by restraining them. But after a certain day though, the guy got karma served to him in the best possible way. The guy threw up all over the Germ Freak because of the illegal move he used, and that move disappeared from his repertoire completely. And after that, ironically, the wrestler who loved dirty play ended up developing, which is a nightmare condition for someone whose whole sport involves rolling around on sweaty mats. Back in the bathroom, our MC asks the Germ Boy if he was gonna answer or not, demanding the Germ Freak tell him everything he knows about the Sky Dragon gang. The phobe, meanwhile, is obsessing about the bathroom floor, rambling about how dirty it is. Suddenly sitting up and launching an attack, he yells that his skin is rotting. Man, for him to be such a germ freak, he sure doesn't know how they work. While throwing a punch, the germ freak then begins listing his grocery list of germs, listing bacteria, salmonella, and pseudomonas like they're old friends. Our boy is beyond done and asks if this dude is seriously worried about that right now, while getting his attack swatted away like a fly. The protagonist, furious and vengeful, stood over his incapacitated opponent, who declared that he would kill our boy, showing his dominance through threatening words. Our bro decides the guy is not going to talk anytime soon. Digging his hands into the toilet, he laments Germ Freak might need a little extra motivation, and admits this whole setup is gross even to him. He warns that maybe the shock will make him talk. Hen forces the guy's mouth open, getting ready to shove something in. Man, this guy is getting tortured in the weirdest way possible. The panics, crying that he doesn't want to be dirty and hates being contaminated. Suddenly, our boy is flipped to the side, the attack catching him way off guard. Hovering over our boy, Germ Boy states that if the MC even lets a drop of that toilet water hit him, threatens that he'll crush all of our guy's intestines. Man, our guy is a 10 out of 10 rate. Our guy's now stuck under his Germ Freak and yelling in anguish because of the grapple move. The Germ Freak just tightens the hold, promising to show him what it feels like to have his organs explode, squeezing until bones and joints crack. Just then we see the Info Boy wondering if he should step in. Worried Germ Freak might actually kill the MC but hesitates. Our boy expressed a distressed nostalgia, recalling the good old days as he reflected on his troubled past. Our bro flashes back, thinking about how his father never hugged him with love, only crushed him while teaching him to fight with brutal grappling holds. He remembers those bone-crushing hugs as the worst days of his life. But our boy comments that thanks to his father constantly beating on him, he grew up. Basically grew up rolling on the ground because of that training. Just then the MC delivers a painful attack on the Germ Freak, causing his back to crack and let out a scream of pure agony. As our boy wonders which will happen first, his organs rupturing, or the phobe's spine snapping. Just by looking at this face of the Germ Freak, we can guess which came first. The guy starts to tap instinctively, like this is an official match and Info Guy is the referee. But our MC coldly says that tapping out wasn't part of his father's lessons and keeps squeezing. And crack, the guy's back is done, gonna be walking like a grandpa with a cane. The phobe thrashes, muffled and panicked, still trying to fight back, and Info Boy complains that he told him to stop moving already. Despite being restrained, the Germ Freak continued to struggle and fight back, muffling his defiance as the MC expressed frustration that he had already been told to stop moving. He decides the shock wasn't enough and that they might actually have to do it, whatever messed up idea he's got next. And wait, is this guy about to do what I think he is? Our boy states that for the record, he really didn't want to do this either. Our boy saying that this is the most shocking thing. I mean, yeah, even I didn't think some shit like this would happen. If Germ Freak didn't have PTSD before, he hell of a sure will now. I mean, just look at this angle, man, am I still reading the same manhwa? Then suddenly making it worse, Info Man starts asking if the guy is ready to drink some delicious lemon juice. Man, in what world is this considered lemon juice? Guys, if you're drinking lemonade right now, I'm sorry. Our bro then tells Germ Man to let him know how it tastes, holding it over his mouth. Man, this is too far, I feel bad for the guy now. The phobe finally breaks and screams through clenched teeth that he'll talk. Info Boy says he knew they'd eventually get through his thick skull, while the MC demands every single thing. He knows about the Sky Dragon gang. If this guy doesn't talk now, I pray for him. We cut to someone else, probably an older gangster with a needle, tells another newbie with phobia not to worry because the needle has been sanitized. And guys, I take it back. It's not an older gangster but a 10 out of 10 tatted baddie. She explains that Germ Boy will be happy before tattooing the Sky Dragon on him. The ominous woman questioned the Germ Freak if he knew why such an influential gang was recruiting minors like him, chuckling darkly. In Boys, we get the best view I mean demonstration as she explains that the dragon symbolizes power and strength, while the flowers represent life and vitality, doing her best poetic cult leader impression. She says that even the most beautiful flower eventually wilts and fades, which is why the Sky Dragon is always searching for new seeds. The gang wants kids at that age where they can grow exponentially depending on their environment, recruiting minors as fresh seeds to nurture inside the garden of the Sky Dragon. She exclaims that those seeds grow and blossom into beautiful flowers for the dragon, which sounds sweet until you remember it's a criminal organization raising child soldiers. We cut back to the clean freak, now broken, swears that's all he knows, begging to be let go because he's just a low-ranking underling. Our boy listens and realizes he finally understands why his father put him through so much suffering and abuse since childhood. His old man wanted him to blossom as quickly as possible, forcing growth the same way the Sky Dragon tries to force its seeds. The Germ Freak then nervously asks why our MC wants information about the Sky Dragon gang, wondering if he's trying to join them. Our boy is baffled at what he just heard. I mean, if he's beating you up, why would he want to join? But the Germ guy mutters that he must want the flowering dragon too, and that's why he hates him so much. He offers to recommend our MC to higher-ranking members if he works under him, trying to pivot into recruiter mode even while half-dead. Our boy shuts him up by attacking his throat. The guy then starts ranting, wanting to know what he did to upset Out Boy. He then starts yelling that he told the MC all the information he knew, so why was he still getting beat up, you asked? Are you guys curious? Raising his fist about to bash the guy's head in, our bro tell him to shut it, before he tastes lemon water. He comments that this punch was simply because he feels like it, not because the guy did anything new. We cut back to outside as the guards remind the inmates to start wrapping up their cleaning, and they all respond with, "Yes sir daddy officer, whatever you say." We motion towards our guy who's wiping bleach off the floor, but our boy notices a mark that won't come off and keeps glancing at it. Just then he's handed some supplies and thanked like a boss. Man, this info guy knows how to suck up to someone. The guy says he wants to thank our boy, and info guy offers him the very same thing he almost got killed by. Very smart. The info guy says he has no idea how relieved he was when our MC took out the crazy phobe. Our boy corrects him, saying he didn't kill him. Just then our bro brings up info guy's torture, asking if he got tortured with bleach by the clean freak. Man, our guy is so insensitive asking that so casually. He asks how info guy even survived that if it was real, because that size was enough to kill someone with his small, petite and skinny frame. Info guy cheerfully tells the story, saying he was foaming at the mouth because of that, not because it was deadly. But because he swapped the bleach with soapy water. Man, I have to hand it to him. That was very smart. He says he had to lie to a bunch of people to pull that off since he really wanted to switch rooms and escape germ hell. Our boy shrugs it off, saying there's no need to thank him because he only did all this to find that tattoo. But just then info boy remembers the scary gang called the Sky Dragon and asks why our MC is hunting people with that mark. Our boy answers plainly that it's so he can beat them to death, catching the boy off guard with how blunt he is. He says he's already caught 2 of them now but has no idea how long it'll take to find the rest, while the other boy points out there are tons of inmates with tattoos, so sorting through them all will be a nightmare. Just then info boy suddenly asks a smart question, asking our boy if those 2 inmates had anything in common. Our boy thinks it over and realizes both guys he took down were top dogs of their rooms, which might be the pattern he needs. He decides he'll just go after every top dog one by one, but the boy hurriedly says there's no need for that. He reveals that next week, all the top dogs will gather at something called the Meeting of the Kings. But you see, our boy is a bit dumb. He's clueless about everything going on around here. Info man educates him and explains it happens every quarter, supposedly to improve relationships between the rooms. But in reality, it's where they coordinate all kinds of illegal operations. He spells it out, it's basically a criminal cartel meeting, just with teenagers in detention uniforms. Our boy finds that pretty convenient, thinking he can find all the top dogs in one place if he goes. But the man freaks out and tells our boy to be careful, and says he must already forgot. He reminds the MC that this is a juvenile detention center filled with the nastiest, most heinous teenage criminals, and that the Meeting of the Kings is where the worst of the worst gather. He pleads with him to keep his head down there if he insists on going, as we then see all the inmates info boy was just talking about gathered around. Word spreads in the circle that Blondie and the phobe are totally done for, and rumors say a kid named the MC is the one who got them both wrecked. Some tough guy complains he hates attention seekers and says they need a beating to learn their place. while another inmate with a religious vibe tells him to control his anger and says the Lord wants peace. Just then, the door creaks open, alerting everyone in the room. Is the head of the group coming, I wonder? But nope, it's our boy, as he says he wouldn't have bothered tracking down each top dog on his own. If he'd known they'd all show up together at this meeting, snapping a shovel in half, preparing to attack. He sprints forward, cracking his joints and readying himself, thinking that if the sky dragon is nurturing new seeds, he'll make sure to crush them dry.